Okay, I figured it would be easier to just make you a video of how this thing gets set up. So this is the Sho Bud. It's got 4 pedals, 4 knee levers. The 0 pedal, which I marked with masking tape, you could peel all this off if you want. I put a little tab on there, but this is the 0 pedal. Doesn't make any change. This is the A pedal, the B pedal, and the C pedal. If you go on Steel Guitar Forum or YouTube and you look up any of the basic E9 pedal steel lessons, they're going to refer to the A, B, and C pedals, and that's the way they're laid out. You can ignore the 0 pedal. Like I said, it's not hooked up to do anything. If you get a little further along and you want to look up what people do with the 0 pedal, there's Paul Franklin and folks that have some really cool stuff. But A, B, and C are pretty much what every, traditional pedal steel song in E9 is using. And then there's these 4 knee levers, and these fold up. So when I pack it up, I'm going to fold them in, and all you need to do is fold them down. And they're supposed to have a little bit of play in them, and you'll figure that out as you use this, because that's perfectly normal. You can read about that. But again, they fold up. So I think with this one, you fold that one up and then this one up, and you're good to go. So anything you do, you're going to see like right knee right, and that would be this guy, left knee left. Now the only thing is you're a lefty and so am I, so you may have to reverse some of this stuff when you're watching any lessons. What I did is I put back leg, or I'm sorry, back left, and then the leg has back left, back right, and then back right. And those 2 legs are probably, interchangeable, but this is the way I set it up, and it's nice and set up even. The front legs have a hole in them for the rack mount there for the, so you're not going to be able to mix them up. They're also set at a higher, and you don't have to worry about this. There's a stopper in here that these won't fold up on you if you loosen them up. So they're not going anywhere when you go to set it up. So like I said, the front legs, I would do front left and put it in the front left side of the guitar. Same thing with the right. You can probably interchange them, but since this thing used to be a Maverick and had just these plain old pole legs, the guy that I bought it from, this is how he set it up, and it works great like this. Everything's nice and pretty well aligned. So you gotta, when you get it, you're gonna have to put the legs on, and then you're gonna put the rack. These things just unscrew as you would expect. Tighten it up, and of course, make sure the Sho Bud is facing up, right? That makes sense. Now, I'm going to mark these rods. Actually, they're already marked. If you look closely, there's a 0 right there, an A, B, and C. These rods they're all the same, but they're set up at slightly different lengths, because what you're going to want is these pedals to be in slightly different heights, and you can play with that. You can adjust it by loosening this, and then these things actually spin on the thread. But I have it set up the way I liked it, and you're going to be rolling your foot off to get all those Nashville licks and stuff. So if you mix up these rods, it's all still going to work. And just so you see, they go up into the hooks here. Don't put them in the far right hole, close to the spring. And you can't even put them in the far left hole. They all go in the middle hole up there. So let's see. We're looking at the hook here. Let me show you this here. You'll see it's in the middle hole, right? And that just rod hooks in. And then when you come down here, these things lift up and they just go on the ball joint like that. Of course, it's easier to do with 2 free hands. There you go. So that's like that. So again, all 4 pedals, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if you want, you can leave the 0 pedal rod off, but it just looks nice and balanced with the 4 rods and the 4 pedals. So that's pretty much how you set the whole thing up. I'm also going to throw in here a little tuning chart. This is E9, so when you go to tune this thing, these are the strings 1 through 10, and the thinnest is 1 to 10. And you're not going to want to tune them perfectly. You're going to want to tune them, get yourself a Boss tuner, or whatever tuner that has sense on it, like this one. This is, I've had this thing for like 20, 30 years. But you'll see for the F sharp, let's see, you're going to want to be +4. So on this tuner, I kind of put it roughly where 5 would be on the sense. It's kind of 4. The next string would be -10. So this next string, D sharp. It's kind of noisy in this basement, but my heat just came on, so it's, let me try a louder string here. So the next string is G sharp. And that should be -11. So you can see there, I'm probably making you dizzy. You can see here, just below that -10 on the tuner there. So you're going to use this chart and you're going to tune it up. Like don't tune them all to 0, otherwise it's actually going to sound out of tune. This is called tempered tuning. I got it off the Steel Guitar forum. There's a couple of different people have a couple of different opinions on that, but I have found that this tuning works really well for me. It might have been Buddy Emmons or someone that figured it out. The other thing I'm going to give you is this chart that I made, and this chart shows you, if as long as you got the guitar in tune, that if you do the right knee RR for right knee right or right knee left, and that's these levers here, right knee right or right knee left or left knee right or left knee left, you'll get these chords with an A pedal and a B pedal. So a combination, like right here, an A pedal down and the right knee right, depending on the fret you're on, will give you these chords. Now, I made this chart. It's left-handed, which is kind of nice because you'll see the fret 1 through 19. So that'll get you going with some chords. One more thing you want to know, and like I said, I'll give you both of these charts here. One more thing you want to know is that when you play a chord, I'm sorry, not all the strings will be played. So if you're playing a regular chord, you would play 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, and then if you hit the A-B pedal, I'm sorry. Oops. 1. So there's plenty you can learn on YouTube, but that's how this chord chart works. So I'm going to put this chord chart in, and I'll give you this tuning chart. And then the other thing I'm going to give you is the tuning key. Now you shouldn't have to do this very often, but on the side here are the rods that adjust how much the levers and the knees move things. So the red ones all pull to lower. If you look in there, you'll notice they're on the bottom half of the rack. And the white ones all pull to raise. This again is set to standard E9, but you may have to tweak these to tune them. And I'll give you a chart with that also. That chart you actually will hold the pedal down and then tune it. But you shouldn't have to do that. This is set up really nice, but I'm going to give you the key anyway, the tuning key. And that's for the side, that's for these side rods. And then these are the normal Grovers. These are all new. The guy that put this thing together took this old Maverick body, but he put, this is a standard Sho Bud setup here. This is not a Maverick setup. Maverick was sort of a student. This is like this whole rack and everything underneath it is all Pro Guitar parts from a Sho Bud put into this really nice maple cabinet that was a Maverick cabinet. So this is essentially really a beautiful Sho Bud. So don't let anyone fool you if they hear the name Maverick. It's set up like the Pro 1, the Pro 2, or any of the single neck guitars. So that's pretty much it. I hope that helps. I'm going to leave the tape on here, and I'm going to start taking it apart to pack it. I'm going to pack it really good. When you get it, you're going to want to just match the masking tape. Like I said, BR, BR. You know, you'll have 4 legs, but take the 2 legs out that have the holes, like I said, for the rack. And then you put the rack, put the legs in the guitar, put the rack on the guitar, and that just goes in with the two screws. And then put the rods on, 0 through ABC, and you should be good to go. Then you could tune it up and start playing around with it. You're going to need a volume pedal, which is pretty standard. And any amp that's pretty clean and has reverb, you should be able to get some nice sounds out of it. And then your next stop is YouTube. Go on there and look for beginner E9. Let someone teach you the basics. There's plenty of great information out there. So, all right, well, I hope that helps.